Shlohmo Bad Vibes.
Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. Time for an album review. Shlohmo, and this is his, according to the label that this album comes off of, the full-length debut of this project. But this is not Shlohmo's first rodeo. There were some EPs that came out before this, a nice little compilation of new and old tracks, and it's all built up to this, an album titled Bad Vibes. This dude is an electronic music producer from LA, and he's heavily influenced by the beat music scene out there that's been getting a lot of press all over the internet. This year there's just been no shortage of this stuff between Flying Lotus and his label Brain Feeder, and basically any unsigned artist who can log on to Bandcamp and SoundCloud and, upload their own little EP or album of beats that they've produced on their laptop. But thankfully this thing stood out to me. It did not come on strong, it's not a really bright album, but it stood out nonetheless. The first thing that I think is worth noting about this LP is just the really chill mood, the chilled out atmosphere. It's the most prevalent thing on this entire LP. It's just one soft, pretty beat after another that sounds like this guy's been listening to a lot of down-tempo from the 90s. I wouldn't say this LP is ambient though, it's kind of like relaxing beats for the foreground. And there are a lot of points on here where this album actually reminds me of Bath's debut LP. The strong percussion and the falsetto vocals that fans loved from that thing also appear on this. Another thing about Bad Vibes that makes this thing stick out to me is the detail and the effort that I sense in these tracks. A lot goes into these songs. It's 13 different tracks on this thing, and a lot of them land around the 4-minute mark. You're not going to be listening to another J Dilla copycat who's somehow thrown together 21-minute beats in a day, and they act like they're the first guy to do it. The tracks on this thing don't just run around in a circle, they have a point A, a point B. The beats change, they shift, new sounds introduce themselves, different instruments pop up, atmospheres layer on top of atmospheres, the music just gets thicker. Plus, a lot of the tracks here just have strong melodies, good chord progressions, and that kind of brings me to the style, the aesthetic, the production of this album. It's definitely a do-it-yourself affair. And it doesn't embrace being do-it-yourself. It doesn't embrace the bedroom aesthetic by being really lo-fi or really noisy or really messy or anything like that. It embraces the sound by incorporating sort of everyday sounds that occur around us. The percussive sounds on this album sound like they were recorded by like tapping or just sort of lightly pounding on a desk or just smacking pencils together, snapping your fingers, and a lot of the melodies on this are coming from acoustic guitar, either being strummed or just a melody being played, some electric guitar here and there, baby xylophone, birds chirping, getting a sample on here on a track, some melodica too. Shlohmo just has this really interesting way of taking the very quiet sounds that just occur in everyday life and making very beautiful music with them. MacGyver beats that do a lot with a little. They're beats on a budget. It's low volume bedroom funk. Now, there weren't any tracks on here that I really hated, but there were a good chunk of songs that just kind of breeze by. And that's kind of the point of this album anyway, to kind of be relaxing, be kind of a place, a setting to just chill out in. There are spots on this LP that demand my attention a lot more though. Like, I love the guitar chords, the very pretty guitar chords, and the subtle groove on the track Places. I love the droning, the booming, the distorted guitar chords on Trapped in a Burning House. It's kind of like Shlohmo tried to create a little tiny baby sun concert in whatever room he was recording this album in. And the cute little synthesizers, the plinky dinky synthesizers that open up Just Us, make me want to cuddle with my girlfriend. There are more pretty moments than there are bland moments on this LP, and that's obviously a good thing. This thing is really consistent, it's very ambitious considering how little it has to work with, and it's very slow burning. It's beat music for people who like to stop and smell the roses. There are some songs on here that I think get held back a little bit by how limited the resources are on Bad Vibes, like a lot of the tracks where Shlohmo is just kind of throwing out these falsetto vocals moaned into a microphone and then a bunch of reverb is thrown on them. That's only going to do so much for me, especially considering that this guy's voice is not the strongest vocal in the world. I'm feeling a decent to strong 7 on this. What do you think of it?